So, welcome to the Hearth. This is our one of our topics that we like to talk. We'd like to introduce things that have grown through some of our interviews or some of the things that we talk about here at the Hearth as the host. And so tonight, what we're talking about is we're picking up a little bit from Frank Carbone's interview, which you can see in the Hearth, where he talked about what is a body. I think that all spoke to us. So I thought we'd start with you, Alison.
Okay. Um, what is a body? And I love what I learned from Ray Castellino about how all the information that we need to know about ourselves is in our body. And particularly if we're having persistent health issues, to be able to connect with the body and ask the body what's going on. Ray used to say, you usually get the voice of a little one expressing itself to you and revealing to you a place that's never been seen, never been touched, that's always been so isolated and alone, it's stored in the body. And to be able to touch that place and give it a voice and reveal it, you not only get a hidden part of yourself back, but there's such an experience of release and settling. I mean, he tells the story of a friend of ours who just had persistent pneumonia, and she went to different doctors, and nothing she did would clear this pneumonia. And so she did a session with Ray and got in touch with when she had pneumonia as a very young infant, and her experience of what that was like. And in the process of revealing that and getting in touch with it and feeling where it was stored in the body, her pneumonia cleared up. And the body needed to talk to her, needed to heal there. And she finally listened with support. I'm also so touched and amazed at how simple the process is. In the Castellino work, we learn very simple tools. They're not complicated whatsoever, but they take a while to learn, and they take practice because there's a presence in yourself and a settling in yourself as you're touching this information either in yourself or another person, which creates safety and presence and intentional contact with the person. In that negotiation process, the body just starts to reveal itself. Information comes up very easily, just from, a body movement that someone might have, and then you go and put your hand against that movement and just emphasize it, give it a little resistance. And in that process, often it'll start talking to you. The memories will start to surface. It's so surprising to me how easily the body can communicate to us if we give it the space and the time and the attention and love and safety, presence to do that.
Thanks, Allison.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
I could go on. Well, as I've been listening to you, Allison, I really relate to body symptoms that become alleviated when the story gets told. I really relate to a lot. And I really found that through doing the pre and perinatal work, the somatic work, that I feel like I'm getting younger as I'm getting older in some ways. But for me, also, I would say it a little bit differently. What is my experience of the body? And so as you were speaking and as I was relating to what you were saying, I was also just feeling my seat, feeling my back leaning on the wall. I'm feeling the cool floor. I'm sitting on a floor. I can feel the cool floor. I can feel my breath. And then I could also feel myself kind of very receptive and yielding and listening to what you were saying in kind of an open, yielding way. And so there was a particular way I experienced my body even as I was listening. And so there's kind of like there's the memories that live in us somatically, but then there's some quality of the body that holds the witness, that sees the history or can perceive the present. And so there's something about just the experience of the body that brings me to the present moment that can be like resting in the body, yielding in the body, and then to be able to perceive what is arising from memory, both the resting and yielding in the present, and then also what are the memories that are revealing themselves in the body. So that's how I was relating to what you were saying.
Thanks, Eileen.
Yeah, thanks, Eileen.
Yeah. I can go next. I'm loving this topic. I'm just loving listening to both of you so far. And like I can really feel into my body as I'm listening. And yeah, I think our bodies are some amazing things. And so the question, I think, originally was, what is a body? And then Eileen, you said, what is the experience of the body or of your body? And I think if I were asked that question, of what is a body? It's like, in some ways, it's a means. To me, it's a means in which we can interact with the world. It reminds me of that quote of form follows function. There's something about our bodies responding to the environment, to the present moment. And in some ways it responds given the history of like, how was it back then? And almost maybe warns us or communicates or expresses to us that we're sensing something in the present moment that feels familiar or that is somehow reminding us of something else. And so how do we listen to that? How do we, whether we're talking about like our sixth sense, or we're talking about imprints or memories, or is it that we're just feeling our body tense up because we're noticing something in the field around us? And I mean, I love looking at it from that perspective and how we work, all of us in different ways, of just bringing our awareness to that. And what is it that's expressing, or what is it that's communicating to us? And can we start to listen to ourselves, to others? And what is the information that's sort of inviting us to listen more deeply or to pay more attention to? So I think it's like this resource that often is so overlooked in what's happening. And whether it's an illness or an injury or anxiety or an emotion, and how our body responds to that. And it's like, what's going on? What am I picking up on? Or what am I maybe needing to pay more attention to? Yeah, I mean, I just know for myself of sometimes I can find myself in these weird positions and just like, what am I doing right now? And what am I like either leaning towards, or what am I moving away from? And what is the significance of that? And through our work, it's involved in differentiation, it's involved in our integration of something, it's involved in being in the present moment and realizing right now I might actually be okay or have more options available to us than I did back then in the history. It may be to recognize, oh wow, this is something that really helped me in so many situations, but right now there are different people here, and how do I want to be with them? So I feel us looking at this question is such an invitation to explore, like, what is our body? What is your body? What is it expressing or telling us or communicating? Not only to us, but to each other, how we pick up on what someone else is doing, their posture or their movements, and they might be really subtle or very large. So I'm loving this question. And I feel like we could talk about this for a long time, but I want to close it
Yeah.
there for now.
Well, thanks, Kristin. And maybe we will talk about it for a long time. Maybe this is the first of several of these conversations between the four of us, and maybe at the community as well. Like, what is a body? And I have so many things I would like to contribute to our conversation, and listening to all of you, just and deep appreciation for our field of practice, but also like when I sit with people and I ask them, did they choose a human life? Did they feel I chose to come? And one of the gifts of coming to be human is you get a body, you get a body. And so many people have challenges with their bodies, and that there's a body-mind dialogue tool that I have learned that works at how the body and the mind has all these microaggressions against the body. And we are living, with in relationship with our physical form. What are the challenges that are there that are in our inner voice? So I think there's so many different ways that we can talk about this, but in the pre and perinatal space, it's I would go also back to what our body is constantly forming. There's a conversation, like that's from Jim File, but also Jaap van der Wal. Like the body is a conversation. That's what I would say to answer Frank Carbone's question. And I love this inquiry around what is it? Is there a younger part in here, a little one, or maybe even an ancestor? Because we are also our bones and our genes and all the things we bring through our families. I think that's one of the things that I'm working with in my own body. Like, what is this body doing now at this time in my life? It's doing what a lot of the women in my lineage have always done. That's got bigger. And just having inquiry around how is it that our body is speaking? Because the body speaks in an unspoken voice. That's the words of Peter Levine. But if you follow somebody's gesture and you slow it down and you meet them there, it's so rich. So I would say there's lots of answers to this question. What is a body? And what I'm appreciating is slowing down and listening to you all, but also as I slow down, there's like this, I don't know, there's some kind of fruit tree appears that with lots of different fruits of the inquiry. So I think that's what I'll add for now and just see if there's anything forming here.
I'm appreciating how rich this is and what each of you are adding to this conversation. I'm sitting here with, I don't know if it's a question or just my experience, but I also witness and experience the body as energy. And I learned so much just by being with what's going on in my own nervous system, where I can feel the health and the ease of it, or where it feels dysregulated, and how supportive it is when I'm with someone who is well regulated, how contagious that is, how I start co-regulating. And in that co-regulation, I feel like there's a softening process. So where I've been holding starts to ease, and that dialogue that you're talking about, Kate, starts to happen. I start to get curious about what's going on in my body because I feel that ease, or what's going on in my body because I feel that sense of peace just by co-regulating with another person. I feel it's such an opportunity to have that conversation with our bodies. I don't think I'd be who I am if I didn't engage in that conversation. I feel like I've healed so much of my history and my birth and my, why I'm here by having those conversations with my body. But I keep thinking of the energy aspect, like, is the energy hard or is it soft and open? And sometimes I actually feel as if we can see the energy around someone's body. I was having a conversation today with someone, and I was looking up at this person and the sky was behind him. And I literally could see his energy and colors around his body. And I was so fascinated with that. Like, I felt like his body was emanating these different colors. And I was so curious about, what does this mean? What is this telling me about this person and his vibrancy? I don't know. I feel like the body is just so multi-layered. It's not one-dimensional. It's a vast universe of information. And I'm often in awe every time we touch into it and what we learn. It has its own intelligence. And I feel like as a human being, as a world, we're just learning how to tap into that and work with that, be with it.
Yeah, I really appreciate what you were saying about the body as energy. I was actually kind of in that same direction, just as you started to speak. If I'm driving a car and somebody does something on the road that I don't like, there's a whole surge of emotion that comes through my body. And so we're such a multi-dimensional being. The body is all of our feelings that run through it, the subtle and gross energies. And there's so many dimensions. Even our spiritual aspect is experienced in the body. And what I enjoy about the way it's coming up right now in our conversation is there's even a way that if you say body, somebody might think of an anatomy drawing that they saw in school, where that kind of removes us from the experience of the body and takes us into an abstract realm. And so what we're even speaking about today is what is, again, the experience of the body. And almost, I don't know continuum so much, but I know that continuum is so much about that we're not a thing, that we're movement. And so just the body as experience, the body as many dimensions. And what is my experience of the many dimensions of the body that I'm experienced this life through?
So rich, so rich. I just really love the phrase that the body is a universe of information. And yeah, I really like that. And there's something of acknowledging the multidimensional aspect, multi-layered aspect of the body, and that it is energy, and energy is constantly moving. So just connecting what you all are saying, and as I said before, I feel like we could just continue on, but it feels like we've summed it up fairly nicely. Anything you're wanting to share there, Kate?
Well, I feel like we've summed up some things and there's more to say. I think Frank Carbone would say that the body is movement and sound, that our body is not a silent movie. He said that he's assisting in the training where I'm teaching, and he's bringing his own work forward in a good way. And I think there's lots of things to explore here, but I really like the conversation. And we look forward to bringing this conversation to our community in September for our conversation then. We'll see you then.
Thank you, everyone.